everyone, Xeno What If here. Bring in part 9 of What If Jaune Arc was betrayed and became Megatron. Link in the description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Chapter 17. 30 minutes since the attack on Decepticon Station. In the mountains leading up to the Arc Clan compound, an Arc Clan bullhead can be seen landing in a humongous Cybertronian ship, which is described to be larger than any bullship or airship Remnant has in their possession, or just any ship at all. What makes the ship stand out is the large claws that are placed upwards, facing towards the middle. Speaking of the center of the ship, in the Arc Clan bullhead, we can see Mason step out of the aircraft alongside Bells. There, they are met with Lockdown, who is joined by his group of mercenaries known as Shadow Raiders, as well as Cybertronian dog or wolf-like creatures known as Steeljaws. Lockdown steps off the platform and walks towards the two arcs. Lockdown. I told you for the very last time, Mason Ordraso Arc of Remnant. I'm not interested with whatever deals or offerings you plan to give of me. Mason. How's about you reconsider? We can offer you our weapons. Our metal. It's the most indestructible metal in all of Remnant. I'm sure someone like you can use this metal out there, whatever it is you're from. Lockdown. Let me remind you, human. An alliance is a contract, and contracts, like humans, expire. I have no intentions of working with you. I have seen what the Decepticons have released to the populace of this planet. You are not one to trust. Mason. And the same can be said for you. We have a saying in our home, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We have a common enemy, the Decepticons are causing untold destruction and chaos in our home, and we need all the help we can get. Lockdown. I also have a saying, I don't care. Bells. Please listen to our deal. We can offer you our metals, our manpower, and a base in the Arc compounds. The Arc clan is one of the most powerful clans in all of Remnant. Even Kronos, a group in the clan, is considered the most powerful huntsman and huntress's team to have exist. Lockdown. And yet half of this Kronos, your compounds, have all been destroyed by the Decepticons. It's worse by the fact it was done by only one soldier. One Shadow Raider walks up to Lockdown, giving him the weapon made by Kronos Arc of the Arc clan. It was created using the metal known as orichalcum, a powerful and indestructible metal. Due to the weapon being small, he had to hold it using his fingers. Lockdown. And this so-called orichalcum, this indestructible metal you claim to be the most powerful weapon to ever come from Remnant, is nothing but useless out there in the galaxy. It holds no value to me and to anything in this ship. He walks up to Mason and Bells, throwing the weapon made by Kronos Arc towards the floor of the ship, as he kneels towards them so they can look him in the eyes or optics. Lockdown. Let me ask you this. Do you know what's happening up there? In that station by your planet's moon? He sees the two arcs had no answers to that. Lockdown. No. Then you don't realize how this war has already been your defeat the minute it will start. The Decepticons have gotten far more powerful than they were back in Cybertron. You truly have no idea who you're dealing with. Now get off my ship. He stands up and starts walking away from the two as Mason screams out to him. Mason. Don't underestimate us. The Arc clan is the most powerful clan in all of Remnant. We will survive and we will prevail. Lockdown stops in his advance and turns towards Mason. Lockdown. Every galaxy I've traveled, all you species are the same. You all think you're the center of the universe, you have no idea. Mason grits his teeth in anger as Bells ushers him back to the bullhead, and he follows. Lockdown and his minions watch as the bullhead takes off out of there. But inside the bullhead, Mason went up to his scroll and contacts the Arc clan's forces. Mason. Have all forces attack the ship. Let's show him what happens when you underestimate the Arc clan. By the mountains that gives off a view of Lockdown's ship, over a dozen A1 to 759 laser tanks can be seen perched up there, along with a couple of laser tanks situated under the ship. These laser tanks are designed by Jade Arc. It's highly durable, even surpassing that of an Atlas Paladin, however it is slow compared to a regular car. It has highly precise laser pointers that can target even a Nevermore flying at 200 yards. The laser tanks fire their laser pointers at Lockdown's ship, causing small explosions when they made impact with the ship, only doing as much as a dent towards it. Lockdown sees the explosion and wasn't surprised that the humans backstabbed him. He looks closely and sees the Arc Clan bullhead is not too far from the ship. Lockdown. The human is foolish to think he can win this losing battle. He looks towards a Shadow Raider. Lockdown. Activate our defenses, I'll deal with the humans and make sure to send them a message they'll never forget. The Shadow Raider nods. Lockdown starts making his way towards the edge of the ship. With the defenses being activated, swarms of rockets start to fly out and head right for the laser tanks, blowing them up in an instant. The Arc Clan thought Lockdown underestimated them, it's the other way around. Lockdown reaches the edge of the ship, his face starts transforming, forming up into his face cannon. Inside the Arc Clan bullhead, the pilot was able to detect the lock-on. Bam! The shot heads straight for the Arc Clan bullhead, hitting it directly in the engines, causing the bullhead to come crashing towards the forest. Lockdown switches the face cannon to his camera mode, zooming towards the crash site and sees the two Arcs are still alive, but severely injured. Lockdown. Time to leave your kind of parting gift. He runs up towards another area in the ship, equipping his grenade and throwing it towards the Arc Clan's forces. Lockdown continues to throw more grenades as the Shadow Raiders dropped bombs towards the laser tanks underneath. The two weapons thrown at them caused a huge explosion that took out literally every single laser tank in the vicinity and even burned down the entire forest, leaving only a fiery landscape. Both Bells and Mason, who is being carried by him, sees the damage and saw the ship still intact with barely any scratches, then their forces are all but destroyed. Mason grits his teeth in anger, seeing this. Mason, that machine will rue the day he refuses our will. Bells helps Mason up as they gets out of there. Lockdown can be seen looking towards the ash-ridden forest. He glances behind him and sees a Shadow Raider walking to him. Lockdown. Activate the stealth field and send the scouts. I want to know what the Decepticons are planning and when to reveal myself. I will ensure this so-called Arc Clan remembers what happens if you cross with me. Present day, Nemesis. Megatron. I see, so that's what happened. In present day, we are now in the bridge of the Nemesis, where Lockdown is informing Megatron of how he got here and why he wanted to join them in the destruction of the Arc Clan. Joining Megatron and Lockdown are none other than Stinger as well as Switchblade. Megatron. I am not surprised that Mason would do such a foolish act to send a message. He and the Arc Clan have a plethora of enemies, yet the fool wishes to create more. Lockdown. That man is nothing but a fool leading his clan to its destruction. Their arrogance and pride will be their downfall. Megatron. Indeed, he was nothing but an arrogant fool who only cared about his reputation than his own family. Lockdown nods. He was also informed about Megatron's origins and was surprised, even intrigued that a higher being reincarnated a lowly human in this planet into the leader of the Decepticons. Megatron. Now then, knowing you bounty hunters, if we plan to create a contract. What's your prize? I take it we can offer you one of the relics in our vault. Lockdown. Indeed, and I will be the one to choose. If not, the deal is off, Megatron. Megatron. Very well, I accept your terms, Lockdown. Only that you serve and only answer to me, no one else. Do I make myself clear? Lockdown. Crystal. The doors of the bridge open, the Decepticons look and they were met with Dreadwing. Dreadwing. Lord Megatron, they're ready for you. Megatron nods, now turning his attention towards the three Decepticon. Megatron. Before I speak to my grandparents, if you can call them that since I'm not Jaune Arc anyone. I will inform you of your missions. He went up towards the main console in the front of the bridge, pressing a button as a large hologram of Remnant appears. In the map, we can see Vale, the Dragon Continent, and Menagerie, all labeled in purple, which means it's Decepticon territory, with Mistral and Vacuo having small pockets where its Decepticon lands. Atlas, Mantle, and the Land of Darkness are the only ones left. Megatron. Lockdown, I want you to send a message to those of Atlas, make sure they know that we will strike soon, that will attack, and for them to be ready. I know my old friends are there by now, and I want them to witness the destruction done by one man. Lockdown doesn't say anything and only nods. Megatron. As for you, Stinger. I will have you lead your forces in Mantle, cause as much destruction as you can, ruin their supply chain. I know the Atlas Council and Ironwood will use Mantle to get their supplies. Destroy every last one scrap they have and leave no trace of their pathetic city. Stinger. It will be done, Lord Megatron. I will not fail you. The screen now turns to that of the Land of Darkness, with multiple points having the Decepticon logo, converging towards Evernight Castle. Megatron, Switchblade, give me a report of our forces in the Land of Darkness. Switchblade, we are on schedule, Lord Megatron. A new batch of Decepticon super soldiers has just finished their cloning procedures. We have 200,000 ready and 1,000,000 more on the way. As for the Viacon project, it is at its full completion. The second wave of Viacons are on standby in the Land of Darkness. Megatron, and Shatter, Switchblade. Shatter has informed me that our little insect has made arrangements and her mistress is ready to meet with us. Megatron, good. Assemble the fleet and tell our forces to wait for my arrival. Switchblade, understood. Megatron, I will take my leave and get this long-awaited meeting underway. I expect you do the tasks at hand by the time I'm done. The Nemesis, Energon Storage Room. Inside the storage room, where the Decepticons store all their Energon cubes. They have more in the different bases in Remnant, as well as their outposts. Inside said room, we have Liam, Alcee, and Jade. Both the grandparents are putting up a brave face, while Jade is terrified right now. The reason for this is the number of Decepticons in the room. Said Decepticons are none other than Barricade, Create a Bot, Bonecrusher, Brawl, and Blackout. Soundwave and Shockwave had other duties to attend to. The doors of the Energon storage room open and everyone there is greeted with Megatron, who's joined by Dreadwing, as he had the Decepticon man the doors, to prevent anyone from listening in. Megatron walks over to the three arcs, with Jade being fearful of his once brother. She did not take part in the killing of Saffron and Terra, even opposed it. But she believes he will blame her for allowing such an act to happen. They watch as Megatron looks at them, Liam and Alcee waiting for him to speak. Megatron, I was informed of what you did and accomplished in the Arc clan. Soundwave was the one who told me of it, and I would have to say I'm quite impressed that you are willing to betray those that are family. Liam, the Arc clan is long gone, thanks to the elders led by Mason. They will lead them to extinction. Megatron, I see, but I was told it was only you two that were to be brought here, not her. He gestures towards Jade, who hides behind Alcee. Alcee, like us, she is willing to prove her allegiance towards the Decepticons. Even went as far as placing a tracker on the elders and that of the Arc sisters. Megatron, really now? Brawl, guess she really wanted to prove her loyalty to us, and to you, Lord Megatron. Blackout, but let's see how far that can go. After all, from what you told us of your past life, isn't she the one that actively sabotaged your dream? Megatron, yes, she was. Which makes me wonder if you're a spy for the Arc clan. Jade had no choice, she needs to prove that she is on the side of the Decepticons. She knew this would come up since her and the rest of the Arc sisters, minus Saffron, kept sabotaging his dream. This will be a main factor on how she will die, and she needs to change it. Jade, I'm not a spy. I had it with my family. They all turned into monsters after you died and they burned your corpse. They never cared about family and only cared about their reputation. I never wanted this. I never wanted any of this. Please, let me prove it to you that I'm on your side. Look. She quickly gets a device out and shows it off to Megatron. Despite it being small as hell, she continues her explanation. Jade, I implemented over a dozen tracking devices on my family, the elders, and what's left of Kronos. Exclamation mark. I even have all their secret locations you haven't destroyed yet, supply lines, the schematics of the compounds. Exclamation mark. I even wiretapped their scrolls, so we can listen in on their conversations. Exclamation mark. I wouldn't go to great lengths if I were a spy. Even if I was, the fight has already been lost from the beginning. We lost so much and yet the elders still think there's a chance of winning. They all think they can still win this. But we already lost, and I accepted the fact the minute we lost everything, and if you were to kill me right here, right now, do it, end it all, avenge Saffron, Terra, and Adrian. The Decepticons and the Arc grandparents look towards Megatron, who seems to be thinking. Jade kneels to the metal floor, ready to accept her fate if she were to die here. Megatron, Dreadwing escort Jade to Flatline in Shockwave's lab, and contact Soundwave, have him download everything from her scroll. The Decepticons and most especially the Arcs, are surprised by this turn of events. The Decepticons believe this is Jaune Arc doing said action, not Megatron. Their leader would have killed her immediately. The doors of the storage room opened and the three Arcs make their way out to the halls, where Dreadwing is waiting for them. I'll see mouths thank you, at Megatron. Once the doors close, the Decepticons have a meeting regarding this decision. Barricade. Lord Megatron, are you sure about this? She is part of the Arc clan and who knows what she can do if she gets her hands on our technology. Brawl. Yeah, I agree with Barricade over here. I don't trust this. Bonecrusher. We already saw how those Arc clan insects are nothing but a bunch of backstabbers. She could be the same for all we know. Create a bot. We can give it a shot. From what I can tell, she doesn't look like she's lying. But if she slips up just once, we disintegrate her. How's that? Blackout. We can have Flatline and a squad of Viacons watch over her, and Soundwave can monitor the comms if something were to happen. If she tries to make contact with the Arc clan, he'll know. Barricade. We need to make sure she stays away from Mindwipe's pet. I don't want her trying anything with that android. Megatron. Calm yourselves, all of you. Despite not being in this planet for centuries, my old memories of that life returned, and I know well when Jade is lying to me. After all, I needed to ensure she doesn't keep secrets from me when I tried to pursue that pitiful career a long time ago. They actively sabotaged that dream. I wanted to see through their eyes if they are planning something, and I learned how to distinguish it. Blackout. So you believe she was telling the truth? That she is willing to join our cause? I highly doubt the insect is willing to kill her own family. Megatron. She will put in her end of the bargain. The woman I once called grandmother would know if Jade Arc is lying, and would have disposed of her without any hesitation. She will prove a useful pawn in dealing with the Arc clan, but their fates will be decided once our plans have been accomplished. Create a bot. And how will you deal with the humans you once called family? Megatron. Shockwave and I have ways to tie up loose ends. All of the Decepticons are satisfied with the information given to them as Megatron went to address his fellow warriors. Megatron. We are to depart for the land of darkness immediately. It's time Salem witnesses our true power. Now, move it. Everyone. Yes, Lord Megatron. Land of darkness. In Evernight Castle, Salem is in conference room as she looks towards the Decepticon fleet making its way to the castle. She turns around was met with none other than Cinder and Emerald, who are now joined by Neo. The three kneel in front of Salem's presence. Salem. Those ships outside of my castle, I presume those are these Decepticons you have told me about, Cinder. Cinder. Yes, mistress. They're the ones who I recruited to retrieve the Fall Maiden's power, and have done so with ease. Not only that, but they have destroyed all of Vale entirely. That includes a few of the other kingdoms as well. Salem. Hazel and Lionheart did inform me of the Decepticons' actions in Remnant. So far, they are a force to be reckoned with, but even so, they won't stand a chance against me, or my Grim. She began walking past Cinder and starts making her way out of the room. Salem. Inform Hazel, Tyrion, and Watts, to meet me in the throne room. It's time we give our guests a warm welcome. Cinder. Yes, mistress. She stood up along with Emerald and Neo, as they follow Cinder out of the conference room. But Cinder has an eerie feeling that her making an alliance with the Decepticons is the biggest mistake she'll ever make, and if complications were to happen between both sides, it's on her, and the punishment will be severe. Meanwhile, in the skies heading towards Evernight Castle, we can see over a dozen Decepticon dropships making their way towards the meeting point. They are being escorted by an armada of Decepticon seekers led by Dreadwing and Grinder. Inside the dropship, Megatron contacts Shatter, who is already present in the land of darkness, as her holograms appears. Shatter. Lord Megatron, Salem is waiting for your arrival. Megatron. Good, set up a perimeter around Evernight Castle and deploy all our forces. I wish to commence operations immediately and under the radar. Shatter. Cinderfall informed me, Salem will use this alliance to help her win this war against Ozpin. Megatron. I care not for her war with Ozpin, she's merely an obstacle that needs to be removed. Shatter nods, as the hologram disappears and the dropship continue their way towards the castle. Outside of Evernight Castle, Salem and her inner circle walk towards a large balcony that was built for the Decepticons' arrival. There, they see over a dozen Decepticon jets flying around the skies of the Land of Darkness. The jets transform, landing in the mountains near the castle. These are jet Viacons that are painted silver, red, white, and black, their optics glowing bright red. These markings distinguish them as Starscream or the Seeker's personal Viacon armada. 10. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. They surround the Grimm around the Lands of Darkness, aiming their blasters towards them, forcing the Grimm back. Some Grimm were foolish enough to charge at them, and were met with red blaster bolts that disintegrate them into nothing but ash. Up in the skies, more jet Viacons come flying in, transforming and landing towards the ground, securing the area to let the rest of the Decepticons' main force land without any interference. The jet Viacons are also joined by another variant of the Viacons, which take the form of helicopters. They are known as helicopter Viacons. The difference between them and the jet Viacons is they are taller by a few inches, and are quite agile, armed with snipers, blasters, rockets, and blades that can be used from the rotors. Some of the helicopter Viacons use their snipers to take down the Nevermores, making a ruckus around the vicinity or are causing problems for the Decepticon dropships as they finally land on the ground. Large squads of Decepticons can be seen rushing out of the dropships, one of which is another variant of the Viacon known as the Tank Viacon. Compared to the Viacons that are much thinner when it comes to their design, the Tank Viacons are much larger, and far bulkier, the downside being they're extremely slow. The cannon located above their head can unleash devastating blows and can protect themselves using the shields located on the side of their arms. The next set of batches are another variant of the Viacon. They are that of the Truck Viacon. They are almost the same design as to that of the standard Viacon, with the only difference being the added large wheels that are connected to its back, 3 of them to be precise. Their chests are much larger by a few sizes and are heavily armored. The Truck Viacons can be seen driving in their vehicle mode and stopped in front of large groups of Viacons known as Viacon miners. They have the same design as the Viacons but are purple in color and have 2 red visors instead of 1. Despite being miners, they are also armed with blasters to defend themselves. The Viacon miners start offloading the supplies as they will begin operations in the Land of Darkness the minute Megatron gives out the order. They are being protected by numerous squads of Viacons. This variant is what makes up the bulk of the Decepticon army in Remnant and Interpticon Station. They are of the thousands. The Decepticon dropship can be seen entering the vicinity of Evernight Castle and making its way to the platform, where Salem and her inner circle are waiting for them. But before the dropship carrying Megatron lands, another came in first, the ones who exit that are Shatter and Dropkick, who stepped out of the dropship and started making their way towards Salem. They were joined by Dreadwing and Grinder, who transformed midair, landing on the platform and making a large thud. Seeing the Cybertronians, Watts is intrigued by these machines, wondering if he can find a way to study them and learn their technology, so he can create weapons that far exceeds that of Atlas or anything Remnant has ever created. The 4 Decepticons stand in attention as the Decepticon dropship lands in the middle. The doors opened and out steps Megatron, with his Decepticon entourage behind him, which comprises of Nitro Zeus, Blackout, Switchblade, and Infernicus. Heavy metal footsteps can be heard as the group approaches Salem. Salem is curious of Megatron, wondering what this machine can offer her, and if he doesn't bring anything to the table, he will have her inner circle and the Grimm dispose of them, even have Watts study their corpses in hopes of implementing this to her Grimm. Once the Decepticons are now standing in front of Salem and her inner circle, Megatron takes a look around, familiarizing himself with his surroundings. Megatron. So, this is where the magic happens. Cinder went up between the 2 factions and introduces Megatron to Salem. She kneels down facing him as she speaks to the Decepticon. Cinder. Lord Megatron, I would like to welcome you and your fellow Decepticons to the Land of Darkness. Furthermore, I would like to introduce you to my mistress, Her Grace, Salem. She gestures towards Salem as she steps forward. Salem, so you must be the leader of this faction known as the Decepticons. Tell me, are you not from Remnant? Arthur Watts here informed me you are not of this world, so is it true? Megatron. Indeed we are, we hail from the planet of Cybertron. The Decepticons' goal is to unify Cybertron under one banner. Under our rule. And here in Remnant, we wish to conquer and control this planet, to dominate and destroy all of humanity. To establish our own rule. Salem nods at the explanation. The Decepticons will be useful for her to win this war against Ozpin. But she has a feeling Megatron and his Decepticons will turn on her eventually. She will have to make plans with Watts to find their weakness and to exploit it at once. Salem, knowing how alliances work, you wish for something out of me, yes? Megatron, indeed we do. We only wish you give us a suitable amount of land so we can build our base of operations and to have your Grimm not interfere with my warriors. If they do, I believe I don't need to explain it to you. As he gestures towards the land of darkness, where large swarms of Grimm, both on the land and in the sky, are being dispatched by the Viacons with ease, even the high-level Grimm did not stand a chance against Cybertronian weaponry. Salem sees this and needs to speak with Watts about this, and may need to create far more powerful Grimm to dispose of these Decepticons, examples being Grinder and Infernicus, who tower everyone here. Salem, and what can you offer me in return? Megatron. With this, Switchblade walks over to Megatron and hands him one of the Omega Keys. Megatron, this one of the 4 Omega Keys. If they are brought all together, we are given untold power at the palm of our hands. We have acquired the first key in the ruins of Beacon Academy and are set to retrieve the second key in Haven. Speaking of which, he now turns his attention towards Shatter and Dropkick. Megatron, Shatter, Dropkick, you are to depart to Haven and are to rendezvous with the Stunticons. Destroy anything and anyone in your path until you retrieve the key. Shatter, it will be done, Lord Megatron. The two take their leave, but Shatter decided to tell Cinder one last thing. Shatter, let us hope Lionheart provided his end of the deal, Cinder. If not, then you know what's coming. Cinder nods, but grits her teeth in anger at Shatter ordering her around like a slave, as she watches her enter the dropship and take off out of there. Salem has no care if Lionheart has been dispatched by the Decepticons. He is nothing but a loose end. Salem, I take it you have plans to retrieve the other 2 keys in the academies. Megatron, we do. I have my forces en route to Atlas and will send a message to the people in that kingdom. As for Vacuo, it will only be a matter of time before we retrieve it. After all, my forces have taken over 90% of Remnant with only small pockets of land in Mistral and Vacuo left, while Atlas and Mantle are the ones that still stand. Salem, I see. Well done, Cinder. I would say you recruited a formidable ally that will no doubt rid of Ozpin and his allies in a matter of days, unlike those of the White Fang, Hazel has informed me about. Cinder bows, feeling accomplished by what she did. Salem now turns her attention towards Megatron and his Decepticons. Salem, I agree with this alliance, I wish to speak more of it in the courtyard. Don't worry, I modified it to fit your kind. Now please, follow me. The Decepticons watch as Salem and her inner circle take their leave. Neo can be seen glaring at Megatron before following Cinder and Emerald. As for Megatron, he speaks to his Decepticons in Cybertronian language. Megatron, Switchblade, contact Mixmaster and have his construction start mining operations immediately. The Dark Spark is here and we need to find it before Salem does. Switchblade, understood. Megatron, as for you, Dreadwing. Starscream has been off the radar for quite some time, the same can be said for his Seekers. Take a team and find his location. Once you do, report it to Soundwave immediately. Dreadwing, it will be done. Dreadwing jumps off the platform and transforms into his vehicle mode, boosting out of there as Megatron and his Decepticons enter Evernight Castle. Atlas Academy. Ironwood, damn it. Ironwood slams his desk in anger as bits and pieces of it crash in front of Ozpin, who is joined by Kiro and Goodwitch. Their expressions are that of stress and frustration, knowing how bad this fight, or war now, has been going against the Decepticons, and so far, it hasn't been going great at all. Kiro, you know, the desk didn't deserve that. Goodwitch, now is not the time for jokes, Kiro. Ozpin ignores the bickering and speaks to Ironwood. Ozpin, James. Ironwood, enough out of you, Ozpin. I'm not going to listen to any more of your plans after what happened in Vale. We lost an entire kingdom, Ozpin. And now we are all that's left. Goodwitch, how bad is the damage so far? What were the reports from the other 2 kingdoms? Ironwood, the Mistral and Vacuon Council reported that the Decepticons are attaining more land by the hour. What's worse is they have no defense against them whatsoever, not even the huntsmen and huntresses didn't stand a chance against them. Kiro. And the Atlas Council is refusing to do shit right. Ironwood. Yes, they're prioritizing the safety of Atlas and having my men steal all the supplies in Mantle, leaving them to die. Ozpin. James, you can't. Ironwood. There's nothing I can do, Ozpin. The council's word is final, but I was able to convince them to send a detachment to protect Mantle. Kiro. By that, you mean protecting the supplies and covering it up so people won't get suspicious. Ironwood. Sadly, yes. Kiro. Great. Can't this any more worse? And it did. In the roads leading up to the city of Mantle, over 1,000 cars can be seen driving in high speed. These are KSI sentries. They are being led by a Pagani Huayra, who is none other than Stinger. Kiro. You know, not only did we lose one kingdom, but we are going to lose 2 more in an Oamdam city in a matter of days. What's worse is we can't do anything about it. Here I thought my semblance is making the situation worse. Kiro took another swig cause this whole situation is stressing him out. Goodwitch. What of the Arc clan? Knowing their hatred towards Jaune Arc, they could be of assistance against the Decepticons. Ozpin. I'm afraid to say that the Arc clan's compounds, including the main one, have been utterly destroyed by the Decepticons. All their forces have been decreasing by the day. They won't be of use to us. He clenches his cane in anger. This wouldn't have happened if the Arc clan cared more about their family than their reputation. Ozpin is glad their once great empire is long gone, but he feels saddened that he couldn't do anything to save Jaune. He failed, and this is another one of his mistakes, or now, the number one, since it led to the destruction of Remnant. Ozpin. We should have done something. We should have tried to help him. Ironwood. Ozpin. Ozpin. If we did, all the students, the staff, the people of Vale, and most especially the Arc clan, wouldn't do those horrendous actions towards Jaune, then he wouldn't die and none of this would happen. I tried to do something, but due to the Vale Council, I couldn't. I'm glad those fuckers are dead. Kiro. Same, but nothing we can do now. We just have to protect what's left. Guess this is karma for all the actions those idiots did, and for me, they got what they deserved. Goodwitch. He killed Yang, Kiro. Your niece. Ozpin. You have no room to talk since you were one of the main tormentors, Glinda. You are lucky Megatron spared you. Kiro. Look, I know about what happened and saw the whole thing myself. Quite frankly, I knew it was coming and tried to stop it. But guess Yang was never really one to listen to others. Kiro could only give out a sigh. He was glad Tai and Raven was not here to hear about this. Tai perished in Vale when the Decepticons took over. Kiro was still busy dealing with cons chasing after them in the evacuated bullheads. He legitimately thought Raven would save him, but he saw a message from Tai before he was killed, that Raven ran off in a portal, leaving him behind. Kiro fully believes the cons will finish her off in Mistral, if they find her. Kiro. I just wish Yang was not arrogant and was smart to know not to face an enemy that can't be defeated. I don't where we went wrong with her. If we knew, maybe we could have saved her. Ironwood. We all made mistakes, grave ones at that. But now's not the time to contemplate on them. As we have far more important matters to discuss, and that's how to prioritize the defense of the kingdom. Kiro. Or what's going to be left of it after the cons attack. Ozpin. Kiro, enough. Kiro just shrugs and went back to drinking his flask. But before they could begin the meeting, Ironwood got an emergency call from Winter. Ironwood. Specialist, what's? Winter. General. The Decepticons are here in Atlas. There's a ship heading for the kingdom and Mantle is under attack. Ironwood. What? He rushes over to the window and sees Lockdown's ship in full view, making his way towards the kingdom of Atlas. Kiro. Grate me in my big mouth. Ironwood grits his teeth in anger. He didn't expect the Decepticons to attack now. He turns back to his table and presses a button, contacting all soldiers in Atlas. Ironwood. Alert all stations and to prepare for the defense of the kingdom, and send out our fleet now. He looks back towards the window then back at Ozpin as they took off to the elevator to deal with this threat. And this is the end of part 9 of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Do not forget to leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.